This is the Mortgage Breakdown, where Andy Baker and Andrew Clarkson break down everything mortgage.
Good afternoon or morning, wherever you're podcasting, listening from. Yes. Everybody out there in social media and podcast land.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
We made it past episode 1,
right.
Episode 2.
Exactly. This is episode 2, the Mortgage Breakdown. Thanks for tuning in. Just want to put a special shout out there for Mike Childress, super realtor here in the Grand Rapids area, and Childress and Associates for hosting us with our podcast today. We're in beautiful downtown Rockford.
Trying something a little different for episode 2.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We're in Rockford,
we can
the
make
home
this
of
home.
Hot dog eating competitions and
corner bars right over there.
Yeah,
we're ready to roll.
This is going to be a good spot right here, I think. So, episode 2 of the Mortgage Breakdown. Today we're talking about digital mortgage and technology. Andy, I just want to say that I'm noticing something that you left out on the first podcast.
Well, that's just it. Before we go jumping into all this technology stuff, I did want to recap a little episode 1. I caught some slack for not wearing the CMB pin, so it's on today, boys. Don't worry.
Yeah, no. When you earn it, you got to show it. So There you go.
I also learned from my kids that apparently I sound like Kermit the Frog on the audio version. So We're going to try to bring it down a few octaves. I got to find my radio voice. I don't have a face for TV or a voice for radio, so we're going to power through.
I think you're going to be just fine today. Right. So Andy, talking about digital mortgage and technology in the second episode of the Mortgage Breakdown, where's the industry is today, and where do you see technology, and why is it so important?
Yeah, for sure. Interestingly enough, Patrick McLean from First Close just put out an article this week. It was posted on Newsleak through the MBA, basically talking about the how technology is a positive impact on your bottom line. That really at this point it's more of a necessity rather than an option. He talked about how customers are concerned with their experience and that they expect the best with the ease and efficiency that so many things have come on or just people have expected this day and age, that instantaneous response kind of stuff. So he really talks about how inefficiencies and outdated and manual processes can almost be a risk to a lender at this point rather than just, an odd convenience kind of a thing. So if you're still doing a lot of your manual processes, you're probably losing business at this point. If it's clunky, if it's hard for a borrower to do that. He talks about all different kinds of things, even, vendor management and how that can eat up time and money and things like that. And that all that needs to be automated now. You need to be looking for technology to do those types of things to you, so that your lenders, like we've talked about before, can get out there and be focused more on the trust and relationship building with their borrowers, with their referral partners.
Right. So important. Like one of the most important things, lead generation. And, it always goes back to that.
Right. And so that's really what they're looking at. And then also on the same token, it was kind of funny, Rob Chrisman's email that goes out every day was just talking about it's Cloud Verga, a software company that just went through a merger. And they phrased it, I believe they said something about this partnership, adds to the digital mortgage experience. And he kind of ripped on him about when did a process become an experience? But they kind of fired back on their own website, and it was good. I think they're right. I think, that people do feel it's an experience now. Like the millennial generation is more looking for that experience, and is it comfortable for me? Am I able
Absolutely.
To upload docs? Am I getting text messages when my appraisal's in? Am I, getting text messages when I'm clear to close? Is my realtor getting these updates? Can I take a picture of my W-2 instead of scanning it? All those types of things are still very important. But again, I think we need to preference it with, that people are, I think they were saying 81% of customers still want to do some kind of in-person transaction. 73% of those same people surveyed said that they want a digital outlet to work through.
It's almost like they want that digital experience, but they want the safety and trust of being there in person as well.
Still, again, I think that's what we'll talk about a little bit later too, that no one needs to view this as the robots are taking over kind of thing, that we're not going to need LOs, we're not going to need underwriters, we're not going to be processors. These are all tools to enhance your job. Use them, adopt them, take them in and use them to your advantage. So again, you can focus more on other activities of that relationship building, that customer for life type stuff.
100%. Does the article or like from your experience or feel what you're seeing in the industry, I know that it's not just the online lenders right now that are the, leaders in the digital experience. Right. Now you have like the smaller banks that are, using outside vendors, for their digital experience, the point of sale systems, the loan origination systems. Is there anything in the article that points to, what percentage of lenders overall are embracing it? Is everyone embracing it and trying to make the change, or?
Well, again, I think he speaks to that where it's almost become a necessity, not an option really anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, even like, we're working on the new 1003, the new IRLA that's going to be going into effect in November 1st of this year. And so even that...
That's a loan application to all the industry folks, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so even Freddie and Fannie are even saying like, hey, like we want to make this user intuitive where like if you answer a question, it's going to be like TurboTax where it'll collapse and expand different sections based on your answers. So it's just the way it's going to be inevitable that you have to adopt some sort of technology. And again, that's what he speaks to too, is make it, find where your company, your setup, your system needs those pinch points, for technology and take advantage of those. You don't have to go out and become Rocket Mortgage type thing,
right?
But you do have to have some sort of online type presence, a consumer facing software system like some of the POSs out there and things like that just make it that much easier for the consumer experience.
Absolutely. And it's almost like, when I was talking about embracing the change, it's like that's here already. Right. And just in our local market, I know there's a lot of like smaller banks, smaller credit unions, lenders that already have this platform.
Oh, yeah.
And they're pretty nice too, whether it's, proprietary and they've done it themselves with their technology department, or if they're using one of these, vendors that specialize in mortgage software. I just really see it, like you said, and this article says, going to that place, if not already being here. Anything else on that article that you wanted to share, or the other one?
Yeah, I think it's just really interesting that it's still. It said in there actually that 79% of people, millennials, are frequently talking or meeting with their lender, while only 60% of baby boomers were. And so it's almost like the opposite of what you would think, that everybody thinks like, oh, the millennials want this online thing. But I was actually reading
interesting stat.
A different article where millennials are saying that they feel like the mortgage process is just too overwhelming still, and that's actually like hindering them from starting it, because they feel like, oh, I don't even know what I'm doing, it's all over the place. And so again, it's that streamlining, or if you can use technology to your advantage to make it an easier experience. Like, it's kind of funny, it's ironic, I haven't gotten I just got my mortgage redone, and I haven't gotten a mortgage in 17 years, and I'm in the business every day. And it was, I used my phone for more than half my application. As far as uploading docs, I was getting text messages that my appraisal was in, that my loan was clear to close, but it was still that. Yeah, I still need to call the lender and just make sure everything's okay. And
absolutely.
The check-ins and things like that. So again, it's just that funny thing where it is a cumbersome process. You know, and anything you can do to make that experience better and smoother for everyone, I think, is to your advantage.
And just like you said, for the ones that either have been through the process but not in a while, or the ones that are new to the process, what I think of are those first-time home buyers that have they have a credit card. They have gotten a student loan. They've gotten an auto loan. And those are all type of financing vehicles that you get, either the same day or next day, where, now there's so many hands, in this process. It's starting with, the loan officer, maybe an assistant, processor, underwriter, closer. Maybe you have a doc prep team or you have a condition team in your company that works that way. So many different people are touching this file, and it's, now it's anywhere from 14 to, 30 days, basically, right?
And exactly. I think that's part of it too, is, using that technology like a POS system where you can introduce all those people right up front. So it's not like, wait a minute, why is this person calling me now? Or wait a minute, why does this person need to review this stuff? I thought we already gave you our pay stubs, kind of a thing. And just really, use that technology to that advantage, but then, use your own personal sales skills to build that relationship and do the hand holding and the education, really, like you were saying, for the first time home buyers, being able to walk them through that process before it even happens, and then using the technology to let it happen.
Let's talk about the next part here, which is I want to do kind of like what your thought is comparison-wise with digital mortgage. So there's two schools of thought, right? You have the technology where you might use multiple vendors for different things, like your point of sale system, the point of sale system which you see on your website that your consumers see, the loan origination system that your loan officer team and your production team works within to get the loan closed. Sometimes there's even an additional underwriting systems on top of that. Pricing engines that are built in, price comparison tools. There's companies right now that work well, integrated with these vendors, and they say we work well with this vendor, or this vendor, or this vendor. But there's also some of these technology companies that say we do everything all in one, right. And if you go with us, you don't have to go to all these different systems or whatnot. What do you think? What's the best way to go in an instant like this? Is there a best way, or does it come down to whatever the company specializes in?
Right. That's why I think, again, it's going to be a case-to-case thing with each company. And again, I've been in those meetings with senior management where a lot of this technology comes with a hefty upfront price tag too,
right.
Yeah. And so to get an all-in-one system, you might be looking at, tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars, right. plus man hours to train it and all that implementation, where if you can start just, having a core LOS system and slowly plugging in, all these different components and building it over time, that might be a better option for you. Or, you just roll it all as one kind of a thing would be, I think, ideally. But it kind of goes to the point I think we've talked about before, too, where, the scare is that, someday Amazon's going to start doing mortgages,
right, yeah.
And they already have this huge customer loyalty base, and they're the type of company that could be like, we're just going to do it end to end, right on our platform that we already have built.
Right.
And so it is a little scary that there's going to be companies out there that have that capacity and capability and the deep pockets to do something.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
And we see it with companies even today.
Sure.
We've talked about it before, where you have like these behemoth of companies that are gaining market share through their specialty platforms, yep. which, give it up to them in a lot of respect because they've earned it that way. For a company that maybe wasn't highly leveraged in mortgage, and they've grown over a certain amount of time, they may have started off with this, this system that might have been great for 50 loan officers, but now we have 250 loan officers and it doesn't work for us. Yeah. So I see with companies, that's kind of what happens. They say, okay, let's integrate this piece. So it'll be a Band-Aid.
Right.
And then that Band-Aid kind of grows into a larger need. Right. And then they got to replace it with another system, yep. and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Where I like your approach, you kind of, maybe you take a look at it on a goal setting plan for a 5-year period. Our growth is going here. We need this system for this purpose, and it's going to work for us.
Another thing to think about too, since we're talking about technology again. In 3 months' time, the technology could be obsolete. Like how often is a new iPhone coming out? Not that your old one's obsolete anymore, but it's just that replacement factor where some of these LOS systems that people are on, when we all move to the cloud, they're not going to be supported
anymore. And it makes
anymore.
us feel behind the times, right. too, because it's all about marketing, right? Yeah. Oh, you don't have this product yet?
Right.
You don't have this new loan origination system?
Yeah,
okay.
You don't have all the bells and the whistles. And that's it. You sign the contract, by the time it gets implemented and up and rolling, it's like, oh, well, something new just came out 3 months ago that everybody's getting now. So, you're on the old system.
Yeah, right. So next part of our discussion to go along with digital mortgage, I hear loan officers talk about CRMs all the time, CRM systems, so that's where your contacts are stored, yep. right? It's a resource tool that manages, your whole pipeline of your previous customers, and where you can kind of track them
sure.
Month to month, yep. whatever period you want, whatever cadence it is. And then it, allows for certain marketing pieces to be triggered out to the audience and
right.
stuff like that. There are so many CRM systems to choose from, to go through. Some that cost, like you said, tens of thousands of dollars. Some that are free to use a certain free feature. Have you seen any notable changes with CRM, or do we go back to the days of, I think of a realtor in town here that's been in the business for 40 years, and he's awesome, really funny guy. I said, "Hey, what CRM do you use?" And he said, he lifted his phone up, he showed his phone to me, and he said, "This thing just rings and I pick it up." And he said, "I've never stored one email. Oh, right. I've never had one email blast or anything. I used to do postcards to the same neighborhood every month for 20 years or whatever." So I think we're beyond that point. Right. CRM is definitely necessary, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I think, for the rest of us that aren't as good as that, I think, it's the old set it and forget it kind of mentality.
Right.
If you get a good CRM system, and again, it's data in, data out kind of thing, so you at least have to do the upfront work on it, where some of them, though, are integrating with your LOS systems now and pulling that directly for you even kind of a thing. But again, it's just that nice, safety blanket, if you will, that if I put this data in, I set all this up, it's just going to automatically happen without me having to remember, it's Susie's birthday. Oh, it's
absolutely.
All these Outlook reminders that fill your calendar. No, the CRM is going to take care of that. And again, like we were talking, if you can get a good one that integrates with your LOS system, it's just going to pull that data right for you.
We had a CRM presentation. How to effectively use your resource, your pipeline of past customers, and how to leverage it for future business. And again, this goes back to being lead generators, because that's what loan officers are out there. And LinkedIn world, watching this video, we're lead generators, right? We're looking for the next client to help. And if you don't have a tool right now that assists you in putting them into some sort of system and classifying them, so you can say, wait, I did a purchase for someone at 4.25 a year and a half ago, I need to reach out to them for a refi. That if you're not automatically triggered with those emails already, it's almost like the deal's gone, the lead's gone. They've already refinanced with somebody else. So I get the question, "Hey, Andrew, should I pay money for a CRM?" And I say 100% absolutely, because that point of marketing is so important. It's going to pay itself back. But the thing about a CRM is that you can't sometimes just set it and forget it. You gotta, if there is a system that allows a certain drip campaign, if you enroll them within it, you also have to actively manage it. You have to continue to reach out to that group, whether it's, mail, regular mail, snail mail, whether it's email, whether it's a call. Maybe, a big thing right now are these, these robocallers that will reach out to clients right now. But developing some sort of system that you can work within that would allow for that client to come back to you.
Right. And again, it goes back to our point of the relationship builder. You don't want to be sending out, recipes for cookies but no follow-up.
Right.
If they got my recipe, I hope they call me next time, But yeah, it's still working it, like you said. That's a very good point.
Well, I really enjoyed this week's episode of the Mortgage Breakdown. Any final thoughts before we sign off here?
No, again, thanks so much for everybody for all your feedback on LinkedIn. We did post on Facebook as well. We got some people on YouTube. So the podcast is out there. So it's pretty much anywhere where you can get podcasts, Spotify, the Apple iPod or iCast, anywhere out there. So
take a look at it.
Yep.
If you have any recommendations, comments, please leave a comment on this video, and then tell us what you want to learn about, because that's what we're here for. That's why we're doing this and bringing this content to you. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Mortgage Breakdown.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Tune in for more breakdowns.